There's a farm bill meeting at the White House today. We're going to give you some important information on H-2A rules and a whole lot more on today's episode of the Arkansas AgCast.
You're listening to the Arkansas AgCast, where we discuss the latest news, trends, and issues impacting Arkansas farmers and ranchers. Our show is brought to you by the Arkansas Farm Bureau Federation and hosted by Jason Brown and John Nickman.
Hello and happy Thursday.
Hey.
To both of you.
Yes, and you.
Something popped in my mind right as I said that. I swear.
What?
Nothing.
No, well, you brought it up.
Number one,
you can't say something.
Mustache is a 10 out of 10
like
today.
it.
I gotta tell you, I just know.
The weather had an impact on the mustache, huh?
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I think this rainy weather's really doing you some favors.
Thanks, yeah. Yeah, the longer it gets, the more it curls. It's odd.
Yeah, that's interesting. Before we know it, you'll have a perm in that thing.
Oh, man, we're not going to get to that point. Trust me. Wife's already talking about it.
Is she?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. The heat's on.
Like I said, you got to be creative, try new things, and
that's it.
I get bored. So,
well,
did it go along the lines of how's that beard working for you?
Because we know what that means. We've learned what that means.
Well, last week I was trimming it down a little bit. Like we've all made it very clear, I don't like doing that. But it's just time consuming and the mess I got to clean up. But then, like you said, I nicked one part. I got to clean up the rest of it. And then after it's done, the next morning I wake up, well, that wasn't the finished product last night. So then I had to go back and try.
It's kind of a constant.
The woes of beard life.
Maintenance, heavy maintenance.
It's tough.
A weight I'll never know.
One of these days when you grow up.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe one day, Dad. So I literally looked over you as I was about to start talking, and it clicked. I went back and watched the show from last week. We do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We watch and listen to audio levels, make sure we're not sounding too ridiculous on here, whatever that may be. And I started the show by saying Brian was out, taking a well-deserved break. And do you know what you said, or you started to say? You said, yeah, he needed a break from you two. I mean, from us. And I
did catch that.
I know what he was about to say.
Yeah, I kind of blacked out.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He also need a break from you.
I understand. We all need a break from each other, whether that's here at work or
that is
whatever.
True.
Amen. No, I thought that was pretty funny, and it just popped in my mind.
It's not going to stop me from giving y'all a hard time. So,
well, I think that's part of what folks enjoy about the show.
Yeah.
Is the hard timeness. Well, it's a busy show. For starters, I always print a few copies of our show notes, so that everybody can sort of follow along as they need to. And I was like, oh my gosh, my stuff get mixed up with somebody else's on the printer? No, just a lot of news to cover.
It's just roller coaster from week to week.
Yeah, and stuff that came in right as we were walking down here. So, I mean, it's just, there's a lot going on. Let me see, what else? It's been a busy week in non-ag news also. It is Teacher Appreciation Week.
Yep.
So I'm sure you guys are aware we have a teacher in my household, so we're always kind of keen to that. And in that vein, we awarded the ag in the classroom outstanding teacher of the year award this week. Matt Jackson from our O&P department traveled up to Pangburn to give that award to Susan Ramsey.
Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations to Ms. Ramsey for that. She's a language arts teacher who's found creative ways to incorporate agriculture into her teaching. She's implemented a gardening program there. She's worked with their ag teacher up there to do some things. It's really quite impressive.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of that garden. It's really nice.
Yeah, I got to they've got this ICE curriculum that they do, which allows them to have some sort of extra time, a day or week or so, and it's really fascinating to see, especially with a district that size.
Yeah,
yeah. So anyway, congrats to you, Miss Ramsey. You can see there's a press release and a photo and all that good stuff on ARFB.com. You can go there to check that out. But it begs a question for you guys. Think back, put on your get in your DeLorean and run back
88 miles an hour.
Yeah, buddy.
Time out right here. I saw a thing on the internet today. If they made Back to the Future today, they would have gone back to 1993.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how far.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy to think of like that.
Think it's that far? That long ago? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
93. Well, it's fine. That's relevant. I also saw something the other day where a guy recreates different car chases and car scenes with Matchbox cars, and I saw a video. He had recreated the Back to the Future scene. I don't know if anybody's laid eyes on that, but it was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, including the lightning strike and the whole nine.
Technically, they did that in the movie too, but
Fair point. So my question for you guys, all right, it's Teacher Appreciation Week. We've just honored an incredible teacher, and think back. Did you have a teacher that made a lasting impact on you growing up that sort of stands out? You've mentioned a couple of college teachers, just along the show, but is there anybody that stands out to you?
Well, not as teachers that I personally had, but my mom's was a first grade, second grade reading teacher. I guess my cousin's mom, which would also be my cousin, she's a librarian of 30-something years.
Oh, my goodness.
Another cousin that's Stuttgart High School, and then I've got another cousin that's a librarian at the junior high there for 30-something years. Just a family of teachers and librarians. But Miss Hobson, third grade teacher, she hands down always stands out. She was always one of my favorites.
Isn't it weird how they stand out? Even sometimes when you're like, I can't pinpoint like the moment that she finally helped me get, chemistry or something.
Yeah.
It's just like they just sort of, there's a few that sort of just pop out in your mind.
But there were some college professors, like my first advisor, Dr. Redfern. He had a huge impact on me because as a freshman, you're coming in and I had no idea what econ was. We didn't have any of those classes. And he kind of, I wouldn't say held our hand, but just kind of helped me, I felt like, get through that process. And then my other advisor, Dr. McKenzie, he was great. And then a lot of my other professors had a big impact on who I am today.
Yeah. Well, thanks to them for getting you here. I think I could probably pick one out from each building. Let's call it building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Each stage in education. Brian, how about you?
Yeah, in my younger years, I was at a private school, and it was a very close-knit family. So most of the teachers there, I liked them all. They were very good. I was very thankful for the education I had. They spent a lot of extra time, so that was good.
Yeah.
College.
That's great.
The one I went to the most, I think, was Jack Schock at Harding. He was, he taught me a lot about the comm law and just had a writing class with him, and he was my advisor. So he helped me choose a lot of the classes and kind of chose my path and talked to me a lot. So and I still keep up with him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, so, I ran into one of my college professors who I really adore and spend some time in the industry still at the voting booth. I don't know, a couple months ago, whenever it was, and we just kind of talked about everything. He still has a column in the Saturday paper, I think it is, Drive Time Mahatma. He writes about road issues. Frank Falone. He was a deputy editor of the DemGaz for a long time, and great guy, man. He taught ethics and law and communications, and you just made me think about him because you mentioned that class. But my kindergarten teacher too. I as odd as that sounds, my kindergarten teacher. I mean, meaning going back that far, but I just remember her having a real impact and just probably starting me off in school the right way right off the bat. You know,
Yeah.
Miss Houston was her name in Forest City, and she was a fantastic teacher.
I would agree with my kindergarten teacher. She was also my swimming teacher. So Miss Lisa, if you're out there listening,
yeah,
she was.
Oh,
you
guys were on first name basis.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All
I mean,
right, well,
it was right down the street from my parents. Stuttgart's not that big.
Yeah. Well, thanks. If you're a teacher, if you're an educator, if you're an administrator in a school setting, whatever that may be, thanks for doing what you do. It's I'll tell you, like I said, being married to a teacher is like, I don't know how they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I volunteered at my daughter's school a few times, and I leave exhausted. You know,
Yeah.
The patience you have to have for the little amount you get paid.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Amen. Yeah. And by the way, somebody else constantly telling you, you know, hey, do this, do that, you know, because science changes and whatever. You know, I mean, it's just it's a moving industry.
Sure.
So, anyhow, I'm gonna tell you, you had an opportunity there to segue.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take it.
Go for it.
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Hey,
the first teacher you mentioned was your mother.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
High five.
Not to steal the show from you, Mom, but also my wife's first Mother's Day will be this year. So
hey,
happy Mother's Day to
That's a
Mary
big
Louise.
deal.
yeah, that is
Etosh
great.
McMinn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys don't forget to get your Mother's Day cards.
Oh
Yeah.
Already on it.
I knew you would have already
So,
had it.
Yeah.
You're on top of things like that.
Yeah, I'm not a big deal, but anyways.
Do you already have yours?
I have 1 foot in the door.
Okay.
I'm ahead of the game in that aspect.
Okay.
My wife beat me to something I wanted to get her. She bought herself like a little picture frame of
Happens in my house too.
the baby.
Yeah.
A little silhouette. It's pretty cool. So I had to switch gears and
Pictures
come up
are
with
always
something else.
great. I have a wonderful code for printing photos. If anybody needs a discount code,
Okay.
I'm happy to
Okay.
share that.
I just want her to remember this Mother's Day, you know, to some extent.
It's a big deal,
Yeah.
man. That first Mother's Day, you know that.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
It's such a cool deal. I like Mother's Day.
It's my
Yeah.
daughter's first Mother's Day, so
Oh, that's true.
So
Yeah, I didn't think
she'll
about
be-
that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Are you guys gonna gather? Do anything?
we're gonna see my mom.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that front, don't forget a card for your mother-in-law. You know.
Well,
Gotta
I
take
think
care
we're
of
going
those
to try to
in-law.
cook some crawfish Saturday at the house.
Heck
for
yeah,
Mom
man.
and Mary Louise. My sister's going to be there too. So
I've done
She's
that a
got two
few times.
kids.
We've done catfish fry or some sort of cookout. I mean, that's the way it should be. It should be a nice, warm,
Yeah.
outdoor, you know, just kind of hanging out. Because
Yeah.
by the time Father's Day rolls around, it'll be too hot.
we're going to do it
Right.
very Eastern Arkansas style and do it in the driveway.
Man, yeah. Little Rock don't know what's coming.
No. Arkansas County is here to stay.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, cool. I hope happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and
Yeah,
you guys,
happy Mother's Day.
and our viewers or listeners too. All right. Well, let's hop in the news if you are good with that.
Yep.
Just a quick reminder. I know there's been a lot of emails and correspondence about this, but the Arkansas Farm Bureau Foundation Trap Shoot registration closes May 26th. The event will take place on June the 9th. So if you have not registered, please do so. Do y'all put a team in?
We just did it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good on you.
Yep. Pretty excited
So
about it.
that's a department team?
This is between two different departments. I wouldn't say.
I know who you brought in.
I wouldn't say it's two departments got together. I think just members of different departments came together on the same team.
Did
That
you
makes sense.
paper, rock, scissors to see whose department got named for the team?
No. We came up with a separate name because I didn't want to get in that battle of whose name's first or
Yeah.
what's the how's the team name themed
Well,
specific to that department.
Can you share? Or is
I'll
it-
give you a
or is
hint.
this a
If you
secret?
guess it, that's fine. But it has to do with Joe Dirt firecrackers in the movie. We came up with a lot of crazy names, and
Yeah.
then I was like, "Man, what are all those firecrackers that he talks about in that little scene?"
Oh yeah. Free plug. Rock City Outfitters has a shirt they do on 4th of July that lists them all. You know the
Really?
shirts that'll have the this and this and this and this and this. Like there's a Razorback shirt that
Yeah.
has like Anyway, they do that. They have a shirt that lists all the firecrackers.
So if you can't guess it, you'll just have to come to the trap shoot and see it. Because I'm ready. I'm pretty excited about hearing the announcer now on lane 5 or whatever.
I think I walked by and saw that meeting happening yesterday in somebody's office.
I think everyone did. It's a stacked team.
I was like, I look over there and I'm like, there's nothing but trouble happening in that room now.
We're tracking.
Okay.
We're tracking.
We're being watched here at Farm Bureau.
I saw lots of laughter going on. I'm like,
there's nothing
up to no good in there.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it professional, but
well, look, if there was one of you in their meeting, if there was just one of you in their meeting, I would thought, okay, they're just having.
Yeah, sure. They're kind of talking.
I saw the entire group.
Let's be honest. It kind of looked like a gang in there. Let's be honest.
I was trying to be nice, okay?
Dude, we really looked that suspicious.
I don't know.
Just sitting there was a bad look, huh?
Yeah. Well, number one, you are sitting on the arm of the furniture. We all know not to do that.
Yeah, I probably had my feet kicked up on it.
Looked like you were forming a coup or something.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So anyhow, all right. Well, we know what we need to know about the trap shoot.
Yeah, it's just something to look out for.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah.
I like this. I like that you are doing this and supporting the foundation and getting involved.
Yeah, we got
I think that's cool.
I was on a team the first year I started here, and then the next year I think I was traveling somewhere, so I wasn't able to. I was kind of disappointed because I liked doing it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty funny. I brought in my Remington 870 I've had since I was 14, pump shotgun that's, I've taken the rust off of it, but it took the finish off of it too, so it almost looks chrome.
Yeah.
But everybody else had their nice over and under, specific trap shooting expensive shotguns.
Oh, really?
And I'm just
well, you know what I think you need?
Parked my 870.
You know what I think you need?
What's that?
One of those gun racks for your back window.
Oh, yeah.
You remember those?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, if you're rolling in with that old 870, pull up. Hey, boys.
Yeah.
Right here. I'm ready to go.
Well, I got a new shotgun last year
those things
for Christmas, so I'll probably bring it.
Honestly.
Shotgun in the back window, no seat belts. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, artwork on the back window?
Yeah.
Some sort of see-through artwork of a mountain scene with a deer.
Or an eagle.
My dad had a green F-150 that had one of those like back window scenes on it. And, man, those things.
Vinyl seats.
That's one of those things without the internet that you can't help but ask yourself, how did it take off and get so popular in such a wide, geographical space?
It's almost a culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway. All right. Well, I digress. Please. But anyway, to get back to the point, in case you forgot, register for the trap shoot if you're interested. May 26th is the deadline. The event will take place in Jacksonville, Arkansas on June the 9th. Something that we're not going to cover in depth today, but because this news broke just as we were coming downstairs, we wanted to give it a mention. Prop 12 stands in California based on a Supreme Court decision this morning. We will likely come back next week with a full-on story about that just to give additional detail. But because this is something that we watch so closely, I know American Farm Bureau has been involved in this. We wanted to at least give that a mention this morning. And then before we get into the news, we will do a quick cover of the planning progress report in the state. Obviously, weather being another headline this week. I know we had over 3.5 inches out here in West Little Rock by the time I got to the office this morning.
Yeah, how cold it is in here, beards, and rainy weather has been kind of the theme of this podcast for a while now.
That is right. That is right.
But we had this giant drought, and then now we just can't get out of the rain.
Yeah. I know it. And we've made remarkable progress.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is I thought Monday and Tuesday were going to be washouts. I mean, I had to travel on Tuesday, and I was like, man, it's going to be such a bummer to drive. Beautiful days.
Yeah.
I mean, banner days, both of them. So we've made a lot of progress. So let's dive in. 82% corn planted as of Monday of this week. That's up another 20% over last week and barely lagging the 5-year average. 60% of the crop has emerged with 3/4 rated good to excellent. Rice plant 2023 is cruising along with 57% completed at the first of this week, which will likely take off like a rocket ahead of the forecasted rain yesterday and today. I'm sorry, which likely did take off like a rocket before that rain today and yesterday and today. We've got 32% of the rice crop emerged. Soybeans have caught up with the 5-year at just under 40% planted. Half that crop has emerged. Cotton is up 32% planted with 8% emerged, putting us ahead of the schedule of the 5-year. Peanuts are on the board. Actually, they have been for a couple weeks, but I failed to list them. I'm sorry, Heath. At 29% planted and 9% emerged. Last week, we began including the progress on the first hay cutting, and we are up to 4% as of Monday. This time last year, we were at 11%, so not too far off. And as I was reading that, I had an email come across my screen about Prop 12.
Yeah.
From our commodities department.
Yeah.
So anyway, we will certainly have more on that likely by the time you are listening to this podcast.
And corn's almost done.
Corn is almost done. You mentioned you were down in McGee the other day.
Manchester, to be exact. Yeah.
Yeah, and saw quite a bit emerge. I was on the eastern side of the state, quite a bit emerge. So I think corn's going to be in the books. Rice will be next.
Good to see rice is moving along.
Yeah. But great to see really that we've caught up for the most part. I know that's not the case in the upper Midwest and some other places in the country.
Yeah.
But anyhow, there we are.
All right. Well, let's move on to some news stories.
Yeah, sounds good.
So new rules and regulations have come out for, I guess hadn't come out, but new rules and regulations of H-2A labor rates set to go in effect July 1st, 2023.
Good to know.
So nothing just has come up in the last week. I just wanted to go over kind of a little bit what we can expect, or producers can expect within H-2A labor rules and regulations starting on that date.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to speak on here is going to be set for July 1st, 2023, like I said, and go all the way through June 30th of 2024.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're going to go back and look at this or not and reevaluate it, but we'll see.
All right.
So given this date is fast approaching, like I said, I want to just kind of go over some of the talking points producers will have to experience the next year. The American Farm Bureau has been following this issue very closely, so I've gathered a lot of information from their articles, which are located at fb.org. For any of our listeners or watchers or viewers who want to go into a little bit more detail of what this issue is than I can give today, because there's quite a bit out there and it's extremely confusing.
Yeah.
This has been an issue for several years, and
Absolutely.
It just seems like every year it's a bigger and bigger issue. So back in April, the Bureau of Labor Statistics released the results of the May 2022 Occupational Employment and Wage Estimates, or OEWS. The data from this release is being used under the New Adverse Effect Wage Rate, or AEWR, and is now the basis for the single standard occupational classification for H-2A AEWRS. So I'm going to go through a lot of acronyms and a lot of confusing.
I was going to say, ask me how I know we're talking about government.
Yeah, 100%.
Alphabet soup.
So just stick with me. It'll come to the conclusion at the end here.
Yeah.
So the SOC AEWR, again, stood for the Standard Occupational Classification for H-2A. Adverse Effect Wage Rate will be the wage rate paid to H-2A visa holders with specific jobs outside the primary farm occupations that already exist. Mm-hmm. The data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed there were 371,619 H-2A positions certified across the country in 2022, and only 8,521, or 2% of those producers, did not fit into the 6 existing SOC codes or job titles for laborers. Seeing that only 2% of the laborers across the country were impacted by this, the Department of Labor felt like that wouldn't be a big change. Unfortunately, they were wrong, because some states, specifically heavy row crop states, had much larger percentages of laborers whose job descriptions fell outside of the 6 existing SOC codes, according to this new rule. So whereas these kind of states to the middle of the country that produce heavy row crops, they had the larger percentage of workers that were outside of these codes. So all the states outside of that little narrow window didn't have any.
Right.
So that's what dropped and skewed this average down to 2%.
Mm-hmm.
What does this all mean? More or less, the Department of Labor has or will continue to specifically designate certain labor rates for specific positions for farm laborers. For example, these positions could be broken down to, quote, farm worker, grain hauler, and within that title there could be 2 different SOC codes, such as heavy and tractor trailer truck drivers and light truck drivers.
Okay.
So depending on the equipment those workers will be driving, the wage rate will be different for both of those codes and more than likely higher than the adverse effect wage rate for that specific state.
Which likely means you could make one rate in the morning or before lunch.
So they haven't been specific on that yet. Okay. That's the big question producers are having is, say during harvest, I have a worker driving a big truck hauling grain.
Mm-hmm.
Or during planting season, he's driving a tractor.
Right.
But during watering season, he's not doing any of that. So
checking levees.
Yeah. So do I have to pay this person year round that higher rate, or do I pay him the higher rate for that period of time, and then we go back down to the average state rate
or blend or something?
Yeah. So, but the issue is these particular job titles are going to be higher than what they've been paying these people in the last 5 or 6 years or since the program started.
So not only is payroll more complicated, but also
it's going to be a bigger expense for the producer. The wage rate will be different for both of those codes and more than likely higher than the adverse effect wage rate, like I said. If we look at the country as a whole, these ag equipment operator positions only represented 7% of the H-2A workers across the state or across the country, which again doesn't look like a big impact.
Right.
Just 7%.
Right.
Now, if we look at the state of Arkansas, where we have 6,429 H-2A certified positions, 36% of those positions were classified as ag equipment operators last year.
Goodness gracious. Much different than the 2%.
Yes. So that is a very large percentage compared to the country, which was only 7%. This will ultimately become a very large financial burden for producers who have very little opportunity to challenge these new rules while also fighting other rising input costs. I think another state, Kansas, was at 69%.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so they're above 50% of their workers classified under this ag equipment operator.
Good.
I'm sure everyone listening or watching just as confused as I am about all this that I've been following for the last 3 years since I got at Farm Bureau.
Yeah.
But if you want more information, please go out to farmbureau.com or fb.org, to read some of their. I think they have about 3 articles specifically on this issue over the last year.
Okay.
And it, I've been on calls with specialty crop producers, especially in our specialty crop division meeting, winter meeting we had in January, about not only are they having to fight with lower costs of, say, tomatoes being produced in Mexico. Our tomatoes are more expensive. Our labor here is more expensive than it is in Mexico as well. So look at somebody down in Warren or Hamburg that has 100 people coming in to pick tomatoes. They're not going to be able to afford these people.
Yeah.
And they can't find anybody locally to hire.
Sure.
So what do you do? And for row crop producers, I mean, they don't have the hand labor that these specialty crop guys, but they still do hire a lot of guest workers, a lot of H-2A labor.
Yeah.
So, this may impact them even more compared to some others because they're going to have those grain haulers or those tractor drivers. So it's something to be concerned about, something that here at Farm Bureau we're definitely talking about, not only in the specialty crop division but across all commodities. And we're trying to work to try to fix issues like this because we don't need any more. We don't need any higher input costs. It's getting worse and worse every year. And now labor's an issue. Just trying to get it. Trying to get H-2A labor is even more difficult with the application process.
Yeah.
And it's just another headache.
Well, not only that, but it's not like farmers can turn this over to the HR department to handle. No. I mean, they're, trying to think about all this and handle all this in addition to just getting the crop in the ground in a timely manner.
But also you're dealing with embassies in other countries too. So
right. Well, I know the H-2A thing. Last year we talked a lot about the housing inspection component of that.
And that was a big help.
MOU of the ag department coming in and things like that. But it's just here we are with another issue around that same topic. Well,
every year it's something different.
Good reporting. I'm sure folks can also reach out to us for some help.
Yes, absolutely.
If they need to.
Reach out to me or Jared Yates, our national affairs lobbyist. He's up to date on a lot of this stuff too. So
okay, good.
especially on the federal level.
Yeah, well, give us a shout if you need a hand. We'll help as we can. Glad to know it's something that's being discussed in our commodity division meetings too. All right, we noted some movement on the Farm Bill at the executive branch this week. At the top of the show, according to reporting from Politico, we've got a little bit more information. Meredith Lee Hill reports that President Biden has invited a group of bipartisan lawmakers to the White House to discuss the 2023 Farm Bill. That meeting, which is scheduled for today, Thursday afternoon, signals that President Biden is getting directly involved in the negotiation around the Farm Bill, presumably trying to keep things on track amid this debt limit debate. According to reporting, Congress will likely pass a $1 trillion plus bill to authorize USDA spending for the next 10 years. The story goes on. The story from Meredith Lee Hill goes on to report that the lawmakers on the invite list will include Arkansas Senator John Boozman, in addition to Senate Ag Committee Chair Debbie Stabenow, House Ag Committee Chair G.T. Thompson, Congressman David Scott, and Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack. Again, that meeting's supposed to be this afternoon. If you're listening, it's May the 11th. There have been a number of meetings this week on the debt limit crisis, and lawmakers will likely continue to meet this week and into the weekend as we move closer to that June 1 deadline. But glad to see some movement around the farm bill.
It's a good list of names.
Yeah, it is. I mean, those are the folks that can make it happen, certainly. So, all right, well, let's take a short break from the news to hear a reminder about keeping the rural roads safe during this planting season.
Arkansas farmers and ranchers work 7 days a week. That means when you hit the road, you may be sharing it with farm equipment, especially if you're traveling along rural roads and county highways. Farm equipment moves slower than our pickup trucks and minivans. They may not have the safety lights and turn signals of our family vehicles either. The trucks and tractors moving down the road need extra room to make turns, cross bridges, and move through intersections too. We all get in a hurry sometimes, but it's important that we all stay safe, no matter if we're headed to buy groceries or grow them. So next time you're cruising past a pasture or field, keep an eye out for farmers. They'll be sure to keep an eye out for you too. If we all work together, we can make sure Arkansas is cultivating safe roads.
It's so important that we work together to keep each other safe on the roads. You may find yourself on the road with a farmer moving hay this time of year, and we're already seeing row crop people pulling down implements down the highway as well.
Yeah.
So let's just all be sure to help one another cultivate safe roads. Let's get back to the news.
Let's do it.
So I've mentioned this before. I make this comment a lot here on this show, is that as an economist, I feel like I'm giving a lot of bad news. And I was just thinking about that this morning as I was getting ready. I was like, man, I just wish I had something. Well, here we go.
All right.
Rice producers will receive more financial relief from USDA due to the high input cost incurred from last season. 2022 season, to be exact. Last year, rice producers were impacted the worst by rising input costs, according to a Texas A&M University study. The study specifically looked at fertilizer prices across all commodities and found rice farms would be hit hardest by rising costs. A&M conducted a second study focused on all input costs and showed that 2/3 of rice farmers could have failed to break even last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Goodness.
These findings resulted in rice farmers receiving financial assistance through the inclusion of $250 million in the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023. This act will provide a one-time payment to rice producers for the 2022 crop year.
Okay.
Senator John Boozman, ranking member of the Senate Committee of Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry, commended the U.S. Department of Agriculture, commended the U.S. Department of Agriculture for moving forward with the implementation of the Rice Production Program, or RPP. Mm-hmm. He was quoted saying, "Last year was a difficult one for rice farmers. Soaring input costs took a toll on family farms across the nation, but as documented by two separate studies out of A&M University, hit rice producers extremely hard. That is why we included a relief in the form of one-time payment to rice producers for the 2022 crop year in the omnibus bill last December. I'm pleased that USDA is moving forward with the implementation of this program, as it provides much-needed relief from record-high rice production costs in 2022. Despite the economic headwinds, rice producers work to ensure consumers continue to have access to healthy, domestically grown food. So moving forward, rice producers have had who have an acreage report on file with the Farm Service Agency or FSA. You can find one in each county in the state of Arkansas. Oh. For 2022, we'll receive pre-filed applications in the mail this week. I think March 8th is when they went out.
May 8th.
Yeah. Or May 8th, sorry. Yeah. The application will indicate their expected payment amount. USDA may issue a second payment if funding is still available. Mm-hmm. Producers will have 60 days to return that application. The initial payment amount will be calculated by multiplying 1 cent per pound payment rate, the producer's actual production history yield for 2022, or the national average yield determined by the Secretary, and the producer's certified rice acres for 2022, both planted and prevented from being planted. A 60% prevented plant factor may also apply. Mm-hmm. Payments are limited to $125,000 per producer, or $250,000 if more than 75% of the producer's average adjusted gross farm income comes from agriculture. I'll also plug a little work from our department and our Ag Insider. Brandy put out a report on this rice production program, and it's been sent out to our rice division and other interested parties. So if you're interested in learning more about that and Brandy's input on it, look out for her article at arfb.com under Ag Insider.
Yeah, I think there's also a fact sheet from USDA attached in that as well. It's got all those important dates that you mentioned. Just good information to have, and make sure you get that application in. I think part of the payments will depend on sort of how many qualified people have applied and so on and so forth. So you want to make sure you're included there. Thanks to Senator Bozeman for his work on that.
Absolutely.
As well. All right, we're going to continue to talk rice. Rounding out the news today, big news for Northeast Arkansas and the ag industry as a whole in Poinsett County just this past Tuesday. The University of Arkansas System Division of Ag hosted a groundbreaking ceremony for a new land grant research and extension center near Harrisburg. The $18.5 million Northeast Rice Research and Extension Center is funded by the Division of Agriculture with a grant from the Arkansas Rice Research and Promotion Board, from tariff rate quota funds from the U.S. Columbia Trade Promotion Agreement, specifically directed to rice research.
Yeah.
No checkoff funds are being used in the center's construction. There's been active research going on, even though we just had the groundbreaking on Tuesday. There's been active research going on at the station's 600 acres since 2021.
Okay.
According to Center Director Dr. Tim Bertram, who spoke on Tuesday. The silt loam soil on which the center is built is typical for rice production in Northeast Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And according to Joe Christian, chairman of the Arkansas Rice Research and Promotion Board, there will also be an education center planned at the facility, which will encourage public education about agriculture in Arkansas, in addition to all the, what I would say, traditional research functions of that facility. Really cool to see this thing built. I know a lot of folks have been sort of, invested in that. I know for us, Arkansas Farm Bureau and our volunteer leaders assisted in securing funding for that facility.
You were there yesterday, weren't you?
I was there. I went up Tuesday.
It was pretty well received, I think.
It was.
Well attended.
It was a packed crowd. Like I said, heard remarks from several individuals. Yeah. We just, it was, like I said, there was a lot of interest in that facility there.
Yeah. I was planning on attending, but I got swamped here, and I don't think I even got the baby to daycare till 8:30 that morning.
Oh goodness, Well, that was that day that I just was dreading being on the road. That trip to Jonesboro, man, if it's storming, it's tough. And but thank the Lord it sunshined on us the entire way. And so anyway, I will tell you, we were there. Also, in addition to myself, we had Chad from our PR team was there, shot some video, did some interviews, so we'll have some content out about it in the next few days.
Good.
All right. Well, that's the news for today. You know what? Did you go back and watch or listen?
I did.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Did you have thoughts?
I do have a thought.
Oh, boy.
By the way.
I knew it. You notice how I breezed right through it in the beginning.
I know you did. So with that, may the 11th be with you.
Yeah.
Touché.
As well as may the 4th be with you,
Touché.
since I missed it. But,
I will tell you, I launched that car as soon as I made my hot take. He's like, 2 things, and I thought, I thought Mac was going to be on my side.
Oh, I saw him dive right in.
I was like, oh yeah, he's warmed up.
We were.
No, he took.
I guess it was on May 4th. We went to like a child store to buy my nephew a birthday gift. And somebody said, or I said, Happy May 4th as we were walking out. And the lady was like, well, tomorrow's a Happy May 5th or Happy Revenge of the Sith. It's May 5th. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that.
That's
all right,
different.
cool.
Yeah.
Just Cinco de Mayo got swept right out the door, I guess.
If you follow Mark Hamill on Twitter, which I do, he sometimes will go into just about every day of May just to have fun.
Yeah.
So may the 4th be with you, and then the next several days he just keeps it going.
He has other.
They're clever.
That's pretty funny.
That's good.
He's one of those guys that stayed really relevant. In
definitely.
the pop culture scene, I think.
Yeah, he's also one of those that kind of like a Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he'll always be known for. And
It
he'll never
doesn't
be able
matter
to
if
escape
he makes
that.
an Oscar.
Yeah, he makes another movie that may outperform Star Wars, but he'll never be known as that. It'll always be Luke Skywalker.
What's his name? John, the guy that played Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah,
I think he's also in that.
or the guy that played.
Not to compare the two.
Right.
What was the guy that played Ted Bundy? The shoe salesman. He's in Modern Family, the grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ed.
Yeah.
I can't think of his last name, but I think I would disagree with you there.
Yeah.
I think in Modern Family,
You think he's taking that over? Okay.
I think people forgot.
I don't
about
disagree,
Ted Bundy.
but he reminds me.
But I love that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He was also in a little known show that came up on HBO back in the day called Johnny California. That was a very odd show.
yeah. Yeah.
But he was great in it. Anyway, sorry.
Would you be shocked if I told you that, as big a fan as I am, Star Wars is not my favorite movie?
I'd be blown away. Ed O'Neill. I would be blown away.
Yeah. It is Ed O'Neill. Throw that right in there.
Just hit me.
Yeah. No.
That would seriously. I mean, you heard what Matthew said. He said Lord of the Rings, but then he goes straight to Star Wars.
Same.
Really?
Most people don't know that, but I'm a bigger Lord of the Rings fan than I am.
I would have lost $10.
I would say I'm a bigger fan of Lord of the Rings than I'm Star Wars.
Yeah.
All three of you.
Return of the King is by far the best film ever made.
Yeah.
That's that scene at the Battle of I'm a great fan now. I can't remember the name of it. It's in the second movie.
Helm's Deep.
Helm's Deep. Man, there's not a better battle scene out there ever made.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Hands down the best.
Well, there's no question
Well, I don't know.
Tolkien's a better writer, and that the books are phenomenal.
Yeah.
So, I love it for that.
I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I've never seen Lord of the Rings. Oh. Wait a minute.
Man.
Wait a minute. I've seen half of Star Wars and none of the others.
Half of a movie or
half of the movie?
The first three, the original three?
The first one.
Just the first movie.
Mm-hmm. That's the extent of my Star Wars watching.
Well, if you can't get into it, I can't knock you for that. I mean,
I'm just saying. It's like, by the way, thanks for showing me up with your kindness. I would have been like, oh, wait a minute. And you're like, look, your choice is your choice.
One of my biggest pet peeves, though, is when somebody says, have you seen this? And I say, no, I haven't seen it. And they say, you haven't seen it? I just told you.
Yeah,
I
people
didn't see it.
Right.
You're right. You know what? That's a pet peeve of mine, too.
Yeah.
People do. You know what a movie people do that a lot with that we've talked about? Goonies.
Goonies?
I'm like, that's not that outrageous that somebody hasn't seen that.
True.
You know?
True.
But anyway.
Fun movie, though.
Yeah.
I will go back and recant my
know.
statement. Saving Private Ryan, the opening movie, opening scene of D-Day, that probably is number one.
Yeah.
But Battle of Helm's Deep would be number two.
Well, that's why people talk. They're like, oh, man, you really love Star Wars. It must be like your top, all those must be your top favorite movies. And
yeah.
Like, no.
There's a lot of merchandise out there.
Those prequels are great to watch.
I mean,
and I don't know that this is like this for you, but like once people know you like something like that,
yeah,
they see something, they pick up something, they find something, they're bringing it to you. You know,
I'm a Star Wars guy. You know, in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
I do have a lot of collectible stuff. I had all that stuff when I was a teenager. I mean, come on, I've had it for a while.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. Yeah,
it's got some sentimental value to it. But it shocks a lot of people that some of those aren't even in my top 10.
Yeah. No,
So, there are
shocked me. I'm telling you.
The films, there's so many greater films.
Matthew shocked me, the birthday celebrity question last week in saying like Ocean's 11 is a great caper or heist movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of surprised me. I figured it was a little too pop culture for.
I watched Heat the other night. It's on Netflix right now.
It's a great
I've
movie.
watched it 100 times, but every time I watch it, man, that's a good movie.
It's good. It's good. Anything Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Gotta like that too.
Absolutely.
But anyway.
All right. What do you got for us?
Okay.
I said all that to say I really enjoyed Matthew's
I did too.
rural restaurant recommendation.
He's great.
I think we need to find a way to incorporate that.
We do.
Somehow.
We do. I thought about bringing some other stuff into it, but for today, you guys aren't getting away from questions today. So.
Well, that's really what I was trying to do.
We're almost
bring something else.
Keep on.
We got a meeting at 11:30.
All right. On average, what is the thing that Americans do 22 times a day?
Check their phone.
Close. But I think that's way higher.
That's probably true.
Check the time.
Nope. Open the fridge.
Open the fridge, really?
On average.
Huh.
So-
Okay.
All right. So there are people out there opening the fridge more than that.
More than that.
That's true. If you're at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is illegal to eat with a cherry pie in Kansas?
I just thought about how I get to 22 is I open that thing and forget what I was getting in there to grab.
Well, that's
Why
right.
did I walk in the kitchen?
Now I've got to close it, walk to the other side of the kitchen so I can remember what I was getting in there for in the first place. All right, sorry.
What is illegal to eat with cherry pie in Kansas, the state of Kansas?
In the state of Kansas.
Ice cream.
To eat with it. It's ice cream?
It's ice cream.
There's got to be history.
Yeah,
I want to know the history behind these.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just found questions for you. I didn't say I was going to back them up.
My nephew or my sister had somebody make a birthday cake for my nephew, and it was a chocolate cake with peanut butter icing. And we had vanilla icing with it.
Making me
vanilla
hungry now.
Cream.
I mean, come on.
I'm hungry, and I had a snack before I came down, but that sounds delicious.
And I fight off sweets because it's a drug for me. I'm truly addicted. If I eat one, I got to eat the rest of the bag. So.
All right. And continuing down the illegal and bizarre, I have one more for you. And I just there must be policy on this somewhere. But on Sunday, what is illegal to sell in Columbus, Ohio?
It's not the obvious. I would say surely not gasoline.
Nope.
I don't know why the newspaper came in my mind, but Sunday's a good big day for the Democrat Gazette. I'm gonna.
It's gonna be off the wall.
Fish.
Cornflakes.
Cornflakes.
You are not allowed to buy cornflakes on Sunday in Columbus, Ohio.
That's wild. Yeah, we I don't know. He did.
I want the story. So chase that story because I want to know why. I want to know
cornflakes are bad for you, so we can't buy them on Sunday.
yeah, exactly.
But you can eat them 6 days a week.
That's got to be one of those. It's like it's so crazy that nobody enforces it, or because I think there's a rule in Arkansas, or a couple of laws in Arkansas that are like that about dancing.
It's been around for 100 years.
There's a lot in a lot of states, which makes you kind of nervous to drive across state lines.
Hey, you just never know. Never know what's happening.
That's right.
I want to know the story behind the cherry pie and ice cream thing.
I do too.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't know.
There you go.
All right. Well, those are good. Those are interesting.
You got any Razorback news? We hadn't talked about that.
I don't.
Baseball team, I think, was ranked
quiet.
like number 3 in the nation right now.
No way, really.
Different polls, yeah.
Huh.
Well, good deal.
Baseball is going strong.
Who's one of the twins for the basketball team announced he's coming back? The one that started the most, Malik.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he announced he's coming back.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I was noticing looking at sports scores this week, like how few there were to check. I'm like, man, we're getting to that point where it's going to be baseball only.
Yeah,
that's
right. I mean, once NBA wraps up their 150 game playoff,
the soap opera that is the NBA.
But yeah,
that's right.
So, all right, well, that wraps up the news for this week. If you can't tell, thanks for following along with the Arkansas AgCast. We're grateful for you taking the time to watch and listen.
Remember, you can catch new episodes of the show every Thursday afternoon. Find video episodes on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the audio version on iTunes or Spotify, and make sure to subscribe and leave us a review when you have a few extra minutes.
Yeah, the Arkansas AgCast is brought to you by Arkansas Farm Bureau. I'm Jason Brown.
And I'm John McMinn.
And we'll see you next week.